playing with Greg, and we started hitting these coin shops, coin shows, all the way back from New York. And I'd fill up double row boxes of purchases. Now, at the time, 83 no-cent nickels I could buy for 100. And if I got them in a 65 holder at PCGS, I get 1,000. I had boxes of coins like that. And I was grading at PCGS, but it took me forever to get in the door at PC. And I remember having lunch with you. And I thought you were eccentric at the time, and it's only gotten worse, but having lunch and being hired by you was the next great thing to happen to me. And because when I got these coins, I then was able to learn the standard even more precisely at PCGS, and they paid me in grading fees for grading slots. So not only did I not have to pay for the slots, I got free slots, and then eventually if I graded enough, I got paid for that. So if you can think about the timing of this and the position I was in, it was almost impossible for me to sleep, because I would go to shows and there was just coins everywhere. It wasn't like today where you can't buy a raw coin. Everything was raw. And if you had the eye, which I happened to have and worked at, and the other people that had surrounded me and guided me, it was just a wonderful, great time. I think there's a book about this by Gladwell. It's not Blink, it's the other one, where it's about timing, when you're born. So this is all how it progressed to PCGS. And at PCGS, I learned many, many things about organization. I learned about who was a good grader and who wasn't, and getting along with Richard Malamed, which was, traumatizing. Anyway, I took all that knowledge and then left Newport Beach. I'm only kidding. I left because Donna and I were expecting our boy, and we wanted to raise him in New Jersey. And John Albanese, who was a founder at PCGS, was starting NGC. Now, this is how naive I am. I left Newport Beach, which I loved, and it was a fantastic time in my life. We moved to New Jersey. It's freezing, sucks. And I am grading part-time for John. And one day John says, this is like 6 weeks into NGC, and he knew it was going to work, and he says to me, you have to come on full-time. So I said, okay. And one day, I shut down my business. I just decided to make that move. He said, I'll make you a partner. I never asked for what my salary was. I never asked how much equity I was getting. And I just started to grade. Because I thought there's going to be consolidation in the coin business. And the coins are going to start coming to the grading services. And I don't want to compete. And I'm having a child. I want to stay home. And knowing my personality, it was going to be a disaster if I didn't stay home. So that's why I made the decision to stay at NGC. And it's been, it was the best decision I ever made. So that was 1988, and so I'm here today. That's it. But I wanted to go over a few great coins that I have seen. And you mentioned something very interesting, and David will agree with this. The people who have put these collections together have really done us a great service, because I've had the opportunity, and it's never happened in history, where somebody has taken their resources, their time, which is more valuable than anything, gotten great advice from somebody like Akers, and honed their skills. They've hunted these coins down. Then they send them into a grading service where they give the graders an opportunity to compare coins from different eras. So we're looking at strikes, we're looking at metal content or metal quality, we're looking at different quality of color based on the gold alloys. We're looking at all these different things. We're looking at the the product from San Francisco versus the product from Denver. And over time, you learn, which goes towards this whole notion of greatflation. Some of it is a learning curve, and it's just absolutely a fact. One of the great collections we graded was the Phil Kaufman collection, which was a complete seated proof collection. And that was from 1840 to 1890. So we got to compare the different decades. And it was remarkable to us to learn that the quality of coins from the 1860s versus the 1870s was much better than, the 60s were much better than the 70s in some cases. It's just one of those kind of phenomenons that will never happen again, where these opportunities exist for graders to have this learning curve and to see these great collections put together. One of the great collections that I was able to see right off the bat was the Poe collection, which was, at the time, contained a had $1794, and John and I graded it 66. $1794.66. I mean, it looked like an 81s dollar. It's crazy. And then there's a $1795.10, which at the time, I hadn't seen that many. Neither had John. Now think about this. If we knew what we didn't know then, he never would have started NGC, and I never would have joined. We didn't have a clue, I'm saying this on tape, about how much difference there is between, for example, Dahlonega Gold, Charlotte, New Orleans. I mean, there's just too much to know for one person. That's why we have a team, that's why we had a team, and that's why I continue to grow. But I defy anybody to say that they had seen at that time a number of 1795.10s in gem. It just doesn't seem possible. So we saw this coin. It's the first one in this kind of quality that we had ever seen. So John and I both graded 65. Now, 1795.10 and 65. This is one of the top 10 coins I've ever seen in my life. Today, I don't care what you say, all of us with an eye would grade this coin 67. Why?
It's a 66 now, right, David? That was.
Did you regrade it?
It's a PC6.
David doesn't do gold.
Yeah, right.
Anyway.
The other thing that to keep in mind, you know, a lot of that's Mac Pope, and it's Dave Akers' work.
Oh, was he involved in that
Yeah.
as well? Okay. But there's an example of a coin that we graded right off the bat that we assumed was the finest known, and it could only be 60, 65. It was kind of like a ceiling, the 65, 66 ceiling. I know that a lot of you are here are into 20th century. I have had the great fortune of seeing all the 1933 20s. I saw the ones that were on display at a place that has a lot of gold in it, and by a government agency that asked me to go look, and with guns surrounding me while I graded all 10 of them. And it was phenomenal to see these 10. Most of them, 9 of them were uncirculated. I think the lowest was a 4. The highest was a 66. I had the good fortune to hold the coins at the 3320s at the Smithsonian. Fantastic opportunity to do the Smithsonian conservation and encapsulation of 200 of the best coins, and to finance and subsidize the legends of numismatics, which 2 million people saw at the castle. So all in all, you know, these are just opportunities to learn more and more and more. We had the Duke's Creek collection come through. There's an example of all the Dahlonega, the Charlotte, and today I want to talk about the Wells Fargo deal. I know I'm jumping all over here, but the Wells Fargo deal was a great collection that I saw. It was a hoard of 1908 Nomano 20s. 20,000 of them. Superb.